In today's art drama news, we have an Etsy seller that traced my artwork. So this was brought to me by Strawberry on Twitter, who goes by the name Berries, which is what I will be calling them throughout this video. They were the one who brought this account first to my attention. And also, I just want to clarify, I was in Japan for like 3 weeks and I got sick. So if I sound weird, yeah, it's the residual sickness making my voice whack, which is why I'm not streaming yet. So Berry has sent me a DM stating that they found this Etsy account that had stolen artwork from them, and they had contacted them to get it taken down, but they also noticed that this Etsy seller had stolen from me. So let us get into the situation with Berry first. This one in specific, the top row middle, the cat in the cup, was the one that the artist had stolen from Berry. This set of badges were badges they made specifically for their own Twitch account, and it isn't for sale. They have a very like cutesy pixel art style with very light pastel colors. As we can see, it's super cute. I love the designs here. And then we have this. This is a screenshot of the artist's Etsy page of the listing with the stolen artwork. It's traced. It's not technically stolen. They didn't take Berry's art and then resell it as if it was their own. They just traced Berry's artwork, which is still just as bad. It looks mighty similar to Berry's. And we could do a side-by-side comparison to really showcase this. Also, little art tutorial for you guys. If you're using Photoshop and you have pixel art and it does look kind of blurry, there's something you can kind of do to upscale it a little bit. So if we go to image size, and then we make it bigger. So let's just scale this to like, I don't know, 1920 arbitrarily. Under resample, there's a bunch of different modes. So bicubic typically is if you want it to look smoother, but if you use it nearest neighbor, it makes the edges really hard and sharp, which is what pixel art looks like. So if we hit OK, we can kind of get like a better upscale. Sometimes it works. This screenshot is a little bit too blurry. Again, I'm taking Berry's artwork. Berry is the one with the striped background. And if I lower the opacity and put Berry's artwork over theirs, it is literally pixel for pixel. I mean, obviously, because this is pixel art. Also, their artwork is like really blurry, so it's again difficult to see the details. But I think you can't deny that even without the fuzziness, this is pretty pixel perfect. And a big one too is you can see the shading detail on their artwork. It's hard to see because it's so light in their artwork specifically, but you can see here the elements of Berry's artwork that is carried over in this Etsy seller's artwork. As you can see here, Berry has a way of shading the handle where they make a C, but they actually don't block in the last pixel here. As you can see, this person shading the teacup does the same thing. The width of the bottom of the teacup is exactly the same. They both do two-step staggers. Like, see, look, there's a bottom and then there's one step, bottom, one step, two step, like that. Even the shading is the same, where you have your base color here, and then they have Berry shaded it on the bottom right, slightly on the bottom left. You can see the shading is basically the same. The highlight is the same. The Etsy seller didn't even bother to change the light source. They didn't even bother to flip the cup even. They just have the handle facing the same way. Tracing isn't okay no matter what, okay? If you trace over somebody's artwork and flip it, it's still traced. They made zero effort to take reference of Berry's artwork and be like, hey, let's change it up a little bit. Maybe we make the cup bigger. Maybe we make the cat can like stick out a little bit more. Maybe we can have cat paws. For referencing, by the way, little tutorial, you want to reference more than one art piece. If you reference only one art piece, your art piece will start to intentionally or unintentionally look very similar to that one art piece you're referencing. But I digress, right? When you reference a piece, you take the idea, the body, the inspiration of that piece and put your own sprinkle on it, your own spice, your own little twist to it to make it yours. With this, there is no changing it for themselves. There's no alterations. There's no, let me add my own personality, my own spice, my own pizzazz, like take it and change it up a little bit. Basically one to one. And the reason why I say basically is because the image is so low res, I can't be 100% certain. So after this, Berry had actually reached out to the Etsy seller in question, and Berry had confronted them on January 16th, 2024. Berry said, I noticed that you stole my art for this listing, and before I take action, I would like to kindly ask you to please take it down. I'm a hardworking disabled artist, and I feel truly heartbroken that you stole from me. I hope you can resolve this so I won't have to take further action. And they linked the Etsy listing in question. So the Etsy seller replied stating, hello, could you please send me an image or a link to what you're referring to? I have no intention of stealing from others, so this may be a misunderstanding. I would like to resolve this ASAP too. So Berry responds with, sadly, this is not a misunderstanding. understanding, you stole my design for the coffee cup. Please take it down. And Barry had linked a listing. I guess this is probably, they probably maybe listed their artwork in the past and then maybe took it down because they decided to use it for personal use. So the Etsy seller replied, could I also ask when this design was listed or created before I consider your request? I created mine in March 2023. Again, this is just interesting to me because it's pixel perfect. It's one-to-one basically. So I'm trying to give benefit of the doubt here. Maybe perhaps they both worked in the same canvas size because this is pixel art. Maybe hypothetically, they both decided to use a 32 by 32 pixel canvas, which is like a standard pixel art size, 32 by 32, 64 by 64. And maybe because of the proportion of a teacup, it happened to look similar. I'll show you more stuff in the future though that may disprove this. Benefit of the doubt so far? Barry responds, why is that even a question instead of just taking it down? It's clearly stolen. I created mine in the beginning of December 2022. The artist replied, I prefer to be as thorough as possible, especially when it's regarding stolen art. I do admit that it does look very similar. I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna do that. It can speak for itself. The artist continues, I will take it down as per your request out of respect, but please understand that people can have similar ideas and references when creating art, and stealing is never my intention. Barry replies with, people can indeed have similar ideas or references, but yours are legit just taken from me pixel by pixel. It is literally pixel by pixel because this is pixel art. So there are not that many pixels on the page. So every single one had to be stolen. Even the shading is the same. Yep, which I mentioned earlier. The only thing you change are the bear ears into cat ears, and then you put your copyright mark all over it and sold it, stealing money from a disabled artist who is struggling to make a living, and now my art is out there being used by people who don't even know I created it. So they can't credit me for it, and I didn't get paid for it. Thank you very much. So Barry here sounds very frustrated, and I completely understand their frustration. They're in every single right to be frustrated. Look, I've had my art stolen before, and I feel like every 6 months, like this happens over and over again where somebody steals my art, and then I have to message them and be like, hey man, this isn't cool. Yo, your artwork overlaps directly one-to-one with mine. Please take it down. And then they don't take it down. And then I make a video talkie about it. And then they get mad at me for making a video when I'm like, if you just didn't trace my artwork, we wouldn't even be here in the first place. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm in the wrong though, right? Am I the asshole? But Barry had told me in DMs that this artist also has a listing that looks really similar to my art. And oh boy, we can get into this one because this is actually an emote of mine that is most commonly stolen because I don't know, bro. People got the audacity. Maybe I made a really cute emote. I think it's really cute. Also, shameless plug. If you guys didn't know, I have an Etsy shop in which I sell digital art, goods, whatever. I think I make really cute art. You can be the judge of that. Completely up to you. But I have frog emotes that are really popular, including this frog twerking butt emote. Let me play it for you guys. I'm really proud of how this one looks like. Look at the cheek jiggle, the physics. I later made like a twerking emote for an esports org I used to work with, and I made the physics way bigger and it looks a little crazy. So let me know if I should do like a giga frog twerking physics emote. I think that might look a little bonkers, but maybe. First off, I want to put a disclaimer. I'm not the first person to make frog emotes. I'm not the last person to make frog emotes. I'm not the person who came up with the idea to draw round frogs, okay? Like, people make frog emotes all the time. Frog emotes are all over the internet. The big thing is, again, just take it and add your own little twist, your own little art style, your own little pizzazz, your little things here and there to make it yours. That's what art is all about, you know? Taking things, taking ideas, and then interpreting it in your own way. So I am not mad at other people for making twerking frog emotes. I don't even think I was the first person to make a twerking frog emote. It's just specifically looking like this, okay? I would have issue with if yours looks extremely similar to this. I one time had somebody raid me with a twerking frog emote, and I looked at that and I was like, I thought that was my own art. It was not. It was somebody else's art, but I thought it was mine. It comes to the point where your art is so similar that even me, the artist, thought it was my own artwork. That's where we have a problem. So again, if you make frog emotes, more power to you. I love cute frogs. Please make more frog art so I can gleefully enjoy it. But when similarities get this close, this is where I have a problem with it. So this is their listing. Maybe I'm crazy, right? Like, tell me in the comments, am I crazy or are you seeing what I'm seeing? Because while there is some stylistic changes, as in they use these lines as a highlight instead of like highlight the outline of the body when I draw, the shading of the butt cheeks, the curve of the cheeks, even the direction the body is facing, the little feet that sticks out is all the same. They did add a hand. I will give them that, you know, they changed the highlight and they changed the hand. I would say to me as the artist, this makes me very uncomfortable because this is still tracing my artwork, right? To me, enough difference to where I could be like, oh, you know, that's your own frog emote in your own style. This is making me a little uncomfy. And if we do a side by side, I screenshotted off my own Etsy listing because I'm lazy and I don't want to dig through my computer to go find the files. Look at the color wheel, okay? That's the first stuff, okay? So color is a big thing in terms of making art, in terms of making emotes. That's another way you can distinguish your artwork from somebody else's artwork, by using different colors. And one way we can check colors is with this color drop tool. If you're not an artist, what this does is this tool will select the colors, right? And you can see this here in the top right with this color selector. When I select the blue, it moves the selector to blue. When I select the white, it jumps to white. So the bigger the jump is, the bigger the difference in color. Let me select my emote. So I put a big like airbrush onto my artwork. So the top of the art up here is different in color than the very bottom here. That's just how I like to draw further up here. Notice where this color selector is. Let me select their artwork. Let me select mine. Let me select theirs. Let me select mine. Let me select, oh, wow. Okay, yeah, because I have an airbrush, the color changes a little bit, right? So if I select like, where did I select? Like right about here, let me select back to their artwork. It's like they color selected off my art. Okay, the butt cheek color is different. I will give them that. It's a little bit different. I again use an airbrush for the butt cheek color, so therefore can't really get like a one-to-one color select on this one. But even the sparkles are the same, man. The shading there, the shading direction is the same. The little foot is the same. Maybe they didn't trace my artwork right because I don't think their artwork is gonna overlap with mine one-to-one. But this does make me uncomfortable with how similar it is. Yeah, I mean, it's maybe not like fully traced, but like the body proportions, everything is, it's really similar to where it makes me uncomfortable. Again, I don't have a problem with people making turkey emotes. Just change it up a little bit, you know, like make him face the other way, have him like look towards the camera as he's throwing it back. I don't know, bro, but like a little bit different, please. Please, besides just like changing the sparkle directions. And Barry and I are not the only two artists that this seller has traced, heavily referenced from. You can be the judge of which one it is. In my case, I don't consider it tracing. I consider this heavy referencing to where it makes me uncomfortable. They have other artwork on their page as well. And you guys can be the judge of what lines each art piece crosses. By the way, disclaimer, please don't send hate to this artist. Please don't send hate to them on their socials. Please don't send hate to them anywhere. That is not cool. Don't do that, okay? I'm just doing this to show the line between referencing, heavily referencing to the point you're basically tracing their artwork, is a very, very gray area that you can walk. And here's what to not do. And also, again, to support Barry, because Barry is what I can guarantee you was basically one-to-one traced there. And again, they are a struggling disabled artist. So stealing from artists is already bad, but bro, like for disabled artists, disabled people already don't have like ample means to find work, right? Because it's difficult out there. And so being able to make money from home, selling your artwork, a great way for disabled artists to make a living. And so stealing profits from disabled people is just even worse. Tracing art and stealing art from people as it is bad, but man, from disabled artists, bro, come on. They have this buff frog emote. There's a lot of buff frog emotes floating around out there on the art spaces, but I noticed this one in particular, this one that the artist had made, looked a little bit similar to this one from Nikami on Etsy. Just the proportions, everything, it's a little similar. And here's the thing, I'm not trying to be crazy, right? Because here I am on Etsy. I looked up buff frog emotes just to show you different options. And there's a ton of different art styles of people with different buff frog emotes, where they have the frog looking different ways, different pecs, different poses. This one has the entire full torso showing. This one is a full body. So even with the concept of a buff frog emote where a frog is flexing, as an artist, you can utilize your own creativity to then put your own spin on it, right? This one looks really different from this one, which looks really different from this one, which looks very different from this one. And again, if you like any of these emotes, you can take a peep at their names down here. But yeah, a lot of different buff frog emotes. There's a lot of different ways that you can take this concept and put your own spin on it. You know, here's another one. These two look a little similar. Oh shit. And if I put them top to bottom, they start looking a little close, okay? So the one on the top is the Etsy seller, the one on the bottom is the one from Nikami, okay? If you can see, the shading style is really similar. Look at how Nika puts dots on the knuckles. Well, this person also puts dots on the knuckles. Look at how Nika has one big blob on the elbow and one smaller blob slightly higher on the forearm. That same highlight style is present on this emote as well. Look at the shading style that Nika does. So Nika has a strong shadow going below the arms and a highlight hitting at the very top. This same shading style is present on this frog as well. And one thing I do want to point out that I think is suspicious too of this Etsy seller's alleged art style is the fact that their shading is very inconsistent. So if you look at this, frog butt emote, very similar to yours truly, right? Draw almost all of my emotes with light hitting from the left side. I don't know why. It makes my brain happy. It itches my brain to draw like that, so I do. So it's just interesting to me that they would draw one frog emote with a light source coming from the left like this, but then draw their other frog emote with the light source coming top down. But coincidentally, the light sources they use always happen to match the reference that they're referencing, right? If you look at the swole frog, they reference Nika's artwork. Nika lights it top down. Their artwork is also lit top down. And again, all the highlight placements is really similar. Even the collarbone is really similar. Like other people who made a buff frog emote, right? Some people didn't add the collarbone. Some people added pecs instead. They used the collarbone idea as well. They did change, I would say, the face, so I will give them that for some credit. But if I do overlap it, the arms are looking pretty similar, pretty one-to-one. At least the left and the right bicep and forearm. I will admit, I will agree, the hand position did change. The head did change. The head is higher than Nika's, and the arms or the hands tilt a little bit downwards. The slope of the forearm, the slope of the shape of the elbow, Nika's artwork, as you can see here, at the elbow, there's a very, very small pitch inwards before it curves down again for the tricep. And that curve, that exact same slope present also in the Etsy seller's work. Maybe if I shrink it down just a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. It's looking really similar. And this is again a third person. So this person has not only basically traced one-to-one Barry's artwork allegedly, they have also heavily referenced my artwork. They have also allegedly traced a good chunk of Nikami's artwork on Etsy as well. And finally, the fourth offender that I found on their Twitch page, which is the least bad in my opinion, but it is still, we're treading into heavily referencing territory. Are these really cute? Yes, they are very, very cute. I like the concept of blood bags. I was a bio major in case you didn't know, so, cute bio-related design. I found this image off of Shutterstock. So once again, if we put it side by side, they're starting to look really similar. I will again acknowledge some elements have been changed, right? The coloring has been changed. The liner is black or very, very dark gray instead of blue. Instead of having two columns of text, there's only one. The letters, the way they write the B is actually exactly the same here. But again, guys, let's try to overlap these pieces, okay? So let's take this. Let me take this Shutterstock image, lower the opacity, and let me try to line this up. Wouldn't you know? Oh my god. Okay, guys, look at this one here. Let me just up the opacity for you guys. Guys, there is a slight difference. These little bottom nubs here are removed. This is one-to-one tracing, man. Even the way the B is written, the placement of the B, exactly where it is here, is the same. This is a Shutterstock image. Can we acknowledge even the shading is the same? Once again, this artist differs in the way they shade with basically every single piece they make. Here, they have a diagonal shading on the blood in the blood pouch, with the darker side actually being the bottom left. So this blood bag is actually lit from the right side, which is the same side that the Shutterstock image is lit from. And if you're not an artist, basically what I am looking for here, I should have probably explained this earlier, the lighter side is where the sun is hitting. So for this blood bag, as you can see here, right, this top right is lighter than the bottom left being this darker coral color. So because the top right is lighter, that means the sunlight or whatever your light source is hitting from that side. Here, again, all of their artwork is lit from the right side. But as we've shown with their other pieces, they vary the direction of the light source in basically every single one of their pieces, which is, again, not something the artists can't do, right? The coincidence is getting finding a little bit too much of a coincidence for every single one of your art pieces to have lighting that exactly matches the reference that you are using. So after all of this, we can revisit again the message they had sent back to Barry stating that, I do admit that it does look very similar, referring to their cat pixel badges, which were basically allegedly one-to-one traced off of Barry's artwork. And they stated, I will take it down as per your request out of respect, but please understand that people can have similar ideas and references when creating art, and stealing is never my intention. And after looking at all of this, I am trying to give the benefit of the doubt. When it first was Barry's art piece, it is really similar, don't get me wrong, but maybe if we do use the benefit of the doubt, when you're using pixel art or making pixel art, the canvas is really small. There is literally not that many places you can actually put the pixels down. Potentially, there could be a possibility that when putting the pixels down to make the shape of a teacup and the shape of a cat, it would end up looking maybe similar other people's pixel art, because again, with pixels, there's not that many places to put them down. But then it comes to the full digital drawings with the frog butt emotes with other animals as well, and the swole frog emote they have is a much larger canvas, a lot more areas for pixels to go. Cannot deny that there is such strong similarities between their artwork with their buff frog and Nikami's artwork with Nika's buff frog with the shape of the arms, and their very uncomfortable similarity to my artwork, as well as the one-to-one overlay with their pixel art. The pixel art being Barry's cat teacup and the pixel art being the blood bag. At the end of the day, hopefully this person is an artist who just really doesn't know where the boundaries of referencing lies and is maybe very misunderstood. Maybe they think, oh, if I trace over a reference but I put every pixel down myself, I am making the artwork, so it's okay. I'm here to tell you it is not okay. First off, again, I always try to say use multiple references. When you use only one reference piece, maybe you're good intentioned, your artwork will still unintentionally or intentionally end up looking like the reference you used, especially if you are tracing directly over it. And point two, please do not trace directly over other artwork. I would argue, in my personal opinion, tracing is okay in only very specific instances. One, if you are studying somebody's artwork, if that is the case, please never post it publicly to social media and claim it's your own because you traced somebody else's artwork. Secondly, if it's a photograph of your own body that you took yourself, then that is okay. Of course, there are some fringe scenarios that also are okay as well, but in my experience, these are the main two that would make it okay. While I want to give this person the benefit of the doubt because they're stating, oh, maybe we just use the same references, their artwork having one-to-one similarity to three artists in Shutterstock is a little bit too close for comfort. So please leave your thoughts down below as to whether this is tracing or whether this is just referencing gone awry. And yeah, if you like this news content, I do stream news content on my Twitch stream. I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So I hope to catch you guys there or in another one of my videos. Peace.